Wanted to talk next about some bandhas or locks that we use in yoga. Two in particular that we're going to use in every yoga experience that we have. Something important that we can do on its own as its own exercise, as we're going to do here, but something to be mindful of so that when you hear me talk about it in the other videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. We have four main locks in yoga. First is our Mula Bandha or root lock, which is at the base of our spine. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. The next one is our Uddiyana Bandha or a stomach or belly lock. Then we've got Jalantra Bandha, which is our throat lock, finishing up with Jiva Bandha, a tongue lock. These two locks are something more advanced practitioners do. I myself have never been trained in them. I just wanted to let you know about them because as we do each lock, it kind of ties into the next. So when we start with our root lock here in a moment, we're going to explore the beginnings of the belly lock. And when we do that one, we're going to feel the beginnings of our throat lock. And we're not even going to worry about the tongue today. I just want to let you know about all of them. For our root lock, it's going to be best if we begin sitting. So if you've got a chair you want to sit on, or come to the floor with me. Whatever's comfortable, we want to make sure we're up on our sit bones, and if there's anything in the area, let's kind of move it out of the way. And we're going to tilt our hips forward just a bit. That way we've got this whole area on our floor or our chair. So this is the base of our core. Our core, I know you've heard of that a lot. It goes from our hips to our shoulders. So our core isn't just our six-pack abdominal muscles or our lower back muscles or just these muscles. It's everything from where we're sitting to our shoulders. So this root lock is going to catch right at the base of that core. So it's very important for our standing exercises, especially balance exercises, to really initiate that core, the base of our core. So let's begin nice and tall here, closing our eyes. And let's bring our awareness to where we go to the bathroom. So halfway between where we do number 1 and number 2 is an area called the perineum. And that's where we want to focus right now. If you're familiar with Kegels, we're going to start with something like a Kegel. On our exhale, let's just squeeze and lift that perineum. And just notice our pelvic floor lift and kind of lock. With each exhale, one thing that you can do next time you do go to the bathroom is try to start and stop your urine. And that's another way to exercise this. These muscles, we don't tend to exercise much. And there are times when we may have wished we had. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let's give a shot at just lifting and locking and holding it for a couple of breaths if possible. And just noticing how that feels. And then relax. Let's bring one hand just below our navel, or we can bring both. And let's just go back to exhale and find that lock. Mula Bandha, root lock. So hopefully we're noticing a little bit of movement right there in the belly area. This is the beginning of our belly lock, or Uddiyana Bandha. Sometimes we call that Uddiyana action. A little action right there at our belly. We'll lock the root, feel the start of our tummy lock. And let's just relax. So we're going to stand now because that's the easiest way to access our full belly lock. Now, as I said, we start at the root, we're going to lock that, then the belly. If we were going to, then we would lock the throat, and then we would have all 4 locks performed at the same time. For the belly lock, it requires holding our breath on an exhale. So if you're prone to dizziness, or if holding your breath sends your body into that panic mode, maybe don't try this next piece. Just find that Uddiyana action that comes from doing the root lock and just have that beginnings of locking in. But what we do is we take a deep inhale, a complete exhale, and then we're going to kind of lift the belly up and in, kind of like a big crunch. And this is actually a core toning exercise if you wanted to do this particular lock as an exercise on its own. It's also good for stimulating the digestive system and kind of getting lymph, because a lot of lymph collects in our belly area, and it's a way to get it flowing back into the bloodstream so that it can be excreted and eliminated from our body. So this will help with our immune system as well. But we're going to take a deep inhale, complete exhale, and then lock the belly in. We're going to release the belly before starting to breathe again, because as we get this lock, if we've got it, we'll feel the beginnings of that throat lock, a little bit of like a catch in the throat. And if you start to breathe before releasing the stomach, it'll be a big catch in the throat, a big choking kind of sound. So I'm explaining it and then doing it, because since I have to hold my breath, I can't talk and do it at the same time. All right, so let me demonstrate here. And then just go back to some normal breathing. So as we do that, we exhale, hinge forward, find the root lock, and then lock in the belly. Just pull it in as far as it'll go. Hold it there for as long as you're comfortable. Again, if you start to get dizzy, go ahead and release the belly and start to breathe again. So let's try it again. Inhale, complete exhale, lock. All right, we're going to do that one more time. So just make sure that you're ready before you do try it again. All right, and just breathe normally. Let's go do a quick talk about a hand and foot lock. You know our hands tend to grip and our feet do too. So when we're in a standing position, we want to think about gripping the floor with our feet, especially if we're going to switch over. This activates those muscles of our foot to help us with balance. When we're on our hands and knees, again, we want to do a little gripping of the floor. We're locking the hands into position, locking our feet into position. So those are a couple of other locks that we may use in some of the poses that we do. But again, any standing pose, we want to think about that root lock. If nothing else, think about the beginnings of that belly lock, because it kind of, holds everything in place. So when we do shift over to a balanced pose, and we'll talk about those later, we've got everything kind of working together. All right, so hope this was educational. Revisit it just to do the root lock and the belly lock stuff on its own anytime that you feel like doing it. Namaste.